Kishore is one of the most bright, articulate person on geopolitics that I know anywhere in the world. You know, I'm amazed how that in Singapore, I'm sorry, Kishore, I got bad news for you. You're not the only brilliant guy.
How shocking.
How shocking. I can name many others. Tommy Koh used to participate in Asia Society events a lot. Chen Hengqi, who succeeded you at the United Nations as a representative of Singapore. Hengqi succeeded me when I left the chairmanship of the global chairmanship of Asia Society. I was very honored that Hengqi would agree to take my place. And then you have other people like George Yeo, who is equally brilliant. You have people like you mentioned, no, I don't know if you mentioned Bilahari Kausikan. It is amazing how Singapore produced so many great brains, even when they really disagree with each other. In Hong Kong, on the other hand, produced no such people. We produce a lot of other kind of good people, great people, business leaders, right, artists, what have you, but that's one thing that we don't produce. So tell us, why can Singapore produce such great minds in geopolitics?
Well, great question. Now, on why Singapore has produced, you're right, very, very talented diplomats in many areas. I think the key difference is that Singapore had to undertake a very tough political struggle to get to where it is today. So if you read Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's, as you know, Mr. Lee Kuan Yew's memoirs are fascinating. I think Mr. Lee Kuan Yew acknowledges that the struggles that he went through forged how the man he became. So as you know, he lived through the Japanese occupation of Singapore, which was brutal, really, and he'll tell you some amazing stories in his memoirs. And then he had to live through a British colony, not too bad, but still Singapore struggled against British colonial rule. And then we joined Malaysia in 1963 and ended up having a very acrimonious divorce with Malaysia.
Within 2 years.
Yeah, which was also another struggle. And when Singapore became independent in 1965, the British media unanimously said Singapore is going to fail because this is a city without a hinterland. And as you know, the leaders of Singapore cried when Singapore became independent. They didn't celebrate, they didn't say hip hip hooray because they thought Singapore would collapse and fail.
Including Lee Kuan Yew.
Including Lee Kuan Yew. So you could see, therefore, that it was an immense struggle that the three founding leaders of Singapore went through: Lee Kuan Yew, Goh Keng Swee, Rajaratnam. And as a result of that struggle, they developed a certain toughness of spirit, which is quite amazing. I mean, I got to know these men. I think one of my key goals with this book, my memoirs, Living the Asian Century, is to tell you stories about these three men. And they were, I think, I've met many great world leaders. I mean, I've shaken hands with Ronald Reagan, George H.W. Bush. I mean, like you have Henry Kissinger, Zbigniew Brzezinski. But the three leaders of Singapore are on par, if not better, than most world leaders that I have met, which is remarkable.
True.
Now, it is because of these remarkable leaders, then if you work with them, in some way or another, you're pulled up by them. Because you learn so much from them. And they elevate. So all the geopolitical analysis that I do, and all the 10 books I've written, I could not have written them if I hadn't sat at the feet of these three geopolitical masters, who in their turn had to go through lots of geopolitical struggles to achieve the kind of understanding that they did. So it was a sort of a cascading series of events, and that sort of led to where we are today.
Well, we all know